Oh, I didn't really do many activities. I mostly just cleaned and cooked and played with my children. I waited for my husband to get home. What about you? What did you do?
I enjoyed hunting and training for possible threats.
Wow, that's certainly different from my life. If Torvald, if I even had the idea of doing that kind of thing, Torvald would have my head.
That sounds dreadful. Who's Torval?
Well, he's my husband, of course. Don't you have a husband? At your age, you should have a husband. I'm sorry.
Um, well, where I come from, we choose to interact with males as little as possible. We do not have husbands.
How can that be? Do you not rely on your men to provide for you and care for you?
We only need males to make a child, and only daughters are raised. Sons are either killed or returned to their fathers. Husbands are merely dolls that we have to play with.
That's rather oppressive, don't you think?
Well, that's what they do to you. They treat you as if you are an object, or if you don't exist. They have no respect for you and have taken away your liberty. Women do not need men to survive.
I think they do. How else would you be able to stay home and spend time with your children, which is what you should love most?
What you should love most. Since one is gawking around an empty house for a few hours a day, waiting to see what? An overworked husband who won't even notice what you worked your butt off to do or broke your back because he's probably too busy pointing out what you could have done better?
Well, maybe I like it inside the empty house. If it's all for my family, then I think it's all worthwhile.
Maybe that's what you've been brought up to believe. Since you're little, all of your decisions have been made for you, causing you to rely on men your whole life.
Well, thinking for myself would only allow me to stray far from my destined path as a mother and child caretaker.
That's just pathetic. That's your internalized misogyny speaking.
How dare you? There's nothing more fit for a woman of my stature.
Hey, what kind of chip is slower than Internet Explorer? Delays. No?
What?
What is an internet?
You guys aren't from the 21st century, are you? Yeah. Well, anyways, what seems to be the problem? You guys in the market for some couples therapy?
We are not a couple.
What's that supposed to mean? What century are you guys from, anyways?
I'm from the 19th century.
Well, that explains it.
Explains what?
You being from the 19th century, you have the ideals and opinions from someone from that time period.
Well, what are your ideals and opinions, Nora?
Well, Cassandra and I were having a conversation on the roles of women and how a society should function.
And how do you think it should work?
I think that men and women have their roles. The women should stay at home and cook and clean for their husbands and stay with their children, and the men should provide for their families. That is what they're supposed to do.
And how would you say this differs from how you think it should work, Cassandra?
I think women do not need men to solely provide when they can do it fine themselves. We shouldn't be made to work if it isn't what we want. Women are better than men.
If I could share my opinion, I think that it shouldn't matter what your gender identity is. Everyone should have the same opportunities as anyone else.
So I don't have to take care of children all the time? What else would I do?
You don't have to go by the road that was paved for you just because of how you were born. People can express themselves and pursue any kind of career paths they feel comfortable with. Nora, you can do whatever you want. If you want to be an archaeologist, you can. Cassandra, you kind of gotta chill on this hating man kind of thing. And also, you don't have to be a tough warrior to prove yourself. If you want to be a dancer, go for it.
I think you're right.
You got this.
That was terrible.